Welcome to a fair one. We have a very special edition. We got a legend, indie rap legend out of Detroit, Esham. But before we start, I just want to wish Dave happy birthday. His birthday was yesterday.
Happy birthday, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dave, I missed you. I drank out of your mug. I pickled off whiskey. I put some fucking cake in it.
There it is.
A big night for me.
Right, you got my Unabomber mug, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Charlie put this one in the mail for me. It's beautiful, right? Only two of these are made. So it's special.
It's awesome.
So let's jump right into it. Esham, man, like I said, Dave knows a lot more about you being from Detroit. You are a legend. I just looked up some of your stuff, and it's I got a lot of questions about horrorcore and how you started. But first, tell me where you're at right now.
Actually, I'm at Ground Zero. I live out in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been living in Detroit all my life, but I got a home out here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I'm actually probably like 1,500 yards away from where George Floyd was murdered, So if I go in my backyard, I can hear protesters. I can hear Al Sharpton. I can hear Bernard Crump. I can hear angry protesters march up and down the street. The helicopters, the bullets, the machine gun fire. I mean, since the first night it started, we pretty much, even if we don't turn our TV on, we can just hear it outside our door, so that's where I'm at.
Wow, that's crazy, man. When did you move out there?
I've been living out here for probably like 8 years. I came out here to go to culinary school. So I went to Le Cordon Bleu and I got an associate's degree in culinary art. So that's why I came out here originally,
Oh, okay.
To school.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, that's so I don't know. Now I have like several questions more than I thought that I had with everything going on with that's crazy. So were you at home the night that happened?
Absolutely. I was doing a show I got called Bluntly Speaking.
Okay.
And I was actually talking to Shaggy Two Dope at around 8 o'clock. And at around 8 o'clock, I go live every Monday. And it happened on a Monday night. And for some strange reason, I did hear like all this commotion and stuff going on. So while I was actually doing my show, they were down there, committing that heinous act against George Floyd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fucked up because I guess I wonder from you're from Detroit, so originally. I'm obviously I was born in Detroit, but I obviously grew up in suburbs right outside like Harper Woods, Grosse Pointe area.
Well, that's still all the hood. I grew up over there, but I was more like 7 Mile and Shaner.
Oh, were you? Okay. I was
Gratiot area, but that's all kind of like the east side, so I feel you.
Yeah, I was 8 in Harper.
Awesome.
Yeah. So okay. So I as weird as it sounds, I used to get the shit kicked out of me actually by cops. It was not that rare for me. I had a lot of arrests when I was a kid. I was an alcoholic and stuff, drug. I really loved LSD as well, which is oddly enough how I got into your music because it was called acid rap, so I fucking loved it. So I'm kind of wondering, like, what do you see a huge difference between their police force and Detroit? Because Detroit's police force may have been held as a bit corrupt, but they weren't. Did you find them to be nearly as violent as the Minneapolis ones?
Well, it's a strange thing about the police and all of that stuff. It's like, just how that whole organization started with the slave patrols and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how far you guys go back with the whole police organization and how they came to be. But the Detroit police was, to me, not, they did their job as police, but those police also lived in the community. So I think it was a little different because the cops actually had to stay within the city to be a police officer in the city. So I think they viewed the community a little different when they actually lived inside the community. So, I mean, the police are the police, I mean, they got a tough job to do, but, I don't see anywhere in the job description where it's, a part of their job to actually murder somebody. So.
Yeah, and I get that, and I keep trying to get people's different takes on it the last few days. I mean, the obvious act is disgusting. Like, watching that video is just disgusting. And there's a difference between, like, I'm a dark comic. Obviously, you talk about some crazy shit in your rap.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a difference between that and the actual actions of hurting someone.
No, I mean, I think any decent human being looks at life the same. You know, life is precious, you know, and any life is precious. And I know that Black Lives Matter, you know, is out there, you know, obviously because Black people are getting killed, and, you know, just this has been going on for, it seems like forever. People keep having the same conversation. You know, it's just time for some systematic changes and some new laws put in place so that these things, you know, won't happen in the future, and that, you know, that they're prevented. You know what I mean? So I think it's something that, you know, the focus and the attention is on the problem right now. But I think as all Americans and, you know, everybody together need to focus on the solutions now, you know, and just so we can all move past this as a country and as a whole family, as an American family. You know what I mean?
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's what I noticed about your Twitter was it was so positive, and it was about everybody being united. And I think that's an important message because I feel that everything is attempting to divide us right now, and we can't let that happen. It's just trying to separate everybody into different groups, almost down, just completely down the middle now. And and if we allow it to happen, we're going to just destroy ourselves.
Well, I think we've come a long way in this country,
Yeah.
you know, from where we were. And actually we got, you know, not a long way to go, but we're almost to where we need to be. And that's just complete harmony. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, I love all my brothers and sisters, and I've been in music business for like 30 years, and I've got to see like a rainbow of people, man. I've got to know all type of people, and I got all different kinds of people in my family, you know, all races, you know what I mean? So I feel the pain of everybody, you know. Obviously, you know, Black people are hurting just from the systematic oppression from the past, but I feel like, you know, just as equally, you know, our white brothers are hurting too, you know what I mean? Like, not the ones that are participating in these horrible acts, but the ones that don't have anything to do with it, and they don't know how to express themselves. And everybody, to me, just need to get together and heal, and just, you know, kind of like I say, focus on the solutions, and, you know, so we can get past this whole conversation and get back to being, you know, the great country that the United States of America is, man.
Hell yeah.
Couldn't agree with you more. That is so well said.
I feel like clapping right now, Esham. You're fucking knocking it out of the park. Give me a speech in the morning. I could do it every day.
Well, man, I mean, I really, you know, wish we could get back to normal in America. I mean, the COVID-19 thing hit us pretty hard, and I'm just talking about everybody. And then we go and, you know, just kind of take a couple steps back with this whole George Floyd thing. And, you know, it's like peeling off a scab, you know what I mean? Every time you see somebody, you know, get killed that way. And we as a country, we've been traumatized. Like, we all need a mental health evaluation, like everybody in America, because we've been traumatized by this so much that, you know, it's now time to talk about it, but it's time to, you know, come up with some solutions, you know, systematic change and stuff like that, man.
It's funny. I just saw like something on Twitter where like, you were saying how some people are reacting and some people are affected. On the positive side, like they're even taking down statues of old Confederate soldiers, which is great. You know, the Republicans right now are fighting to keep the bust of the guy who started the Klan on the Capitol building. It's fucking insane how far yet we still have to go. But Christopher Columbus just got thrown in a river, which is fucking wonderful.
That's hilarious.
It's a great time to be alive right now. If you don't believe in, you know, just change and revolution and, you know, peaceful protests and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know why those statues were up in the first place, you know, and that's just what I mean. You know, I don't think anybody just, you know, signed up to say, hey, put those statues up there. You know, we want to be constantly reminded about, you know, heinous acts and stuff like that. So, I mean, if this is a part of change, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? But I just think, you know, we can learn a lot from the past, even the bad parts of the past. You know what I'm saying? I think America deserves to know the whole story without people leaving out bits and pieces. And once everybody know the whole story, you know, we can all kind of just stop talking about it and move on, man, because there's bigger problems, man, global warming. And, you know, just, I think, you know, we could come together better than we are. And you know.
You're right. Like, yeah, I think a lot of the statues, some of them I don't understand. Some of them I get because they're reminders of what the past was. And for us to have a better future, you have to kind of look at the past. It's like, yeah, Robert E. Lee may have been a great general for the Confederates, but you have to look at what he stood for, and you have to realize what the past was. Then you have Ulysses S. Grant, and you have these, and then, defacing Lincoln doesn't make any sense. And you look at a lot of the people who, if the Antifa thing is real, these people that kind of set up shit to rile people up and to get people upset.
I actually saw some of those people out here. I mean, when the riots started happening, people did prey on other people's pain and struggle, So I actually saw people out here that were fully equipped for like riots. Like, regular citizens they just got signs. They're not coming there to destroy anything. They're just angry. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think, they want change, but it's a lot of people who want to, for whatever their reasons are, destroy what the progress that's been made. Like Minneapolis is a melting pot, man. I think that's why Prince lived here. I think that's why a lot of people come here, because there's a lot of different people here, a lot of open mind, a lot of freedom here. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that, there's everybody here. You know what I'm saying? Like, right, yeah. They're all getting along. It's a real purple city. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. So, Prince was the elevated human.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, they're attacking that freedom, man. And I think, the more they try to separate people just need to come together more and just appreciate your brothers and sisters from all races, appreciate their contributions that they made. It's a lot of people that died for the civil rights movements, all different kinds of, colors, you know what I mean? So it takes everybody to come together, for one common, good cause, or just to make a solution, man. I think we know the story, and I think some people, kind of didn't tell you the whole story because it was horrible. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if everybody just kind of look inside themselves, this is a moment to look inside yourself, don't be ignorant. Yeah, I like comedy too. I like, I say a lot of ill shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
but
yeah.
You got to read the room. You know what I'm saying? You got to show a little empathy on certain situations. You know what I'm saying? And right now, I just think, people should show empathy and look at it from other people's shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this stuff was happening to white men all the time, and if it was in reverse, I would be the first Black person out there saying, hey, stop killing my white brothers, man. That is not right. That's a human life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be jumping up and down every day because, it could happen to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. Injustice anywhere is injustice for all of us. Like, we're all in danger if you look at another human being and watch their life go, and that does not disturb you. You know what I mean? Despite all the entertainment, everything else, if that doesn't disturb you, and you know that, hey, we need some type of change here, because life is precious, man.
I couldn't have said it. That's perfect. And part of me too, growing up in Detroit, is Detroit for me was very black and white, and we got along with each other. There weren't, there were other nationalities, of course, but if you look at the large majority of everybody there, we were black and white. That's who I hung out with. That's, and at the time, like in the 90s when I was a teenager and partying and stuff, coming of age, it didn't feel like there was the divide that all of a sudden there is now. And that's what I find so bizarre.
We was those 90s kids, and we all came together. We are the melting pot. We are America. We are the people, man. And in the 90s, because that's why everybody be like, man, the 90s were so great, right? Because everybody was getting along. We was raving. We are that America that gets along, that gets it. You know what I'm saying? The music brought us together. We came in. We shared our cultures. We shared our experiences. We cannot let people come in and divide that. We got to stick up for our brothers and sisters, and we can't be scared of each other, man. I know they keep telling you to wear a mask and all this coronavirus and this flu stuff and all of that. We've been through everything together. You know what I'm saying? So I think people just, need to embrace, coming together more than somebody trying to separate us, man. And that's even with music. I feel like they put labels on music like rock, country, pop, R&B to separate us, man. If there was no genres and there was just one radio station that played all the jams, if your music was dope, people would gravitate towards it. You know what I'm saying? I like music from all different genres. I got favorite artists from everywhere. You know what I mean? From everywhere. And that's what I think music does. And that's what I think we need to just stick to the harmony, stick to the golden rule, man. treat people like you want to be treated, and do unto others as you will have them do unto you, man. And we can get along, we can get past this. Let's, I just want to get past this and find some type of solution, because I got a son out here, I got children out here.
Me too, yeah, I got a boy.
And I'm just like, I don't want them fighting the same fight, man. They need to be, just the sky's the limit. They need to be exploring the galaxy and not worrying about these same problems, these same situations, hundreds and hundreds of years of this, man. As a Black man, I am not trying to come in nobody's home and, get them. And I don't feel no type of way about the heinous past. We're all a part of that. That's all a part of our fabric. We're all intertwined together. Black and white people, we're brothers and sisters. We're the yin and the yang. Right. You can't have one without the other. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
go ahead.
You went to cooking school. You could break in my fucking house whenever you want, whip me something up.
Well, shit, if I'm invited, I don't have to break in. I was always taught like this, man. If you give to a thief, he's no longer a thief, man. I don't think, if the government is worried about people looting stores and something like that, why don't they come up with a bill that protects the average store owner from a situation like this, where if they riot, or I just think as a community, we can help more people than hurt people. You know what I'm saying? I'll cook anytime anybody wants. I just, I be slanging the wicked shit. So that's the other life. You know what I'm saying? I be doing all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm coming out more because I want people to know that I'm just a regular human being. I'm an American citizen. I'm your brother. I love you. I respect you. You know what I'm saying? And I want to be loved and respected too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here trying to harm nobody. And I don't think the average Black man is. You know what I'm saying? We're afraid of the same things that everybody else is afraid of. We don't want crime. We don't want rapists. We don't want murderers around us. You know what I'm saying? We all need to come together and just stick to what is the problem, whatever the problem is. You know what I'm saying? And I think we could do it as a country because we all went to raves together. We all partied in the most craziest conditions and got along. Think about what I'm saying.
Dave's got arrested to your music at least 3 times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Dude,
man.
I'm writing.
I got arrested to it too, And these are the good times, man. These are those times we remember in our life, and this stuff is really all about us. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know whose grandfather, or if Donald Trump is watching this, I don't know. Maybe he's mad because nobody is actually his friend, or you know what I'm saying? Like, people used to love Donald back in the 80s. He was on the cover of Playboy, But I just think, something happened with him too, man. We need to embrace him too. I know he's fucking up right now. You know what I'm saying? But, and then we just need to come together.
Yeah,
man.
There's the part of him too that's that's like the outsider, and I'm with you with that. And then you kind of look like, who's above that? Who's dividing this more? And it's like you said. I guess it's different because the generation maybe above us, and then there's this generation below us that they don't seem to have the camaraderie that our generation had, and it just seems a little bit scary to me when you have. Like these white girls screaming in your face about how it's like, okay, I don't understand. Like, you're in your early 20s. I don't know what your experience is, and I understand wanting to be part of something bigger, but I don't know if you understand it. I think you're just maybe acting out so you can say, like, Absolutely. Look how woke I am, and it's bullshit,
Absolutely. A lot of people don't get the message, and don't get me wrong, I'm not defending Trump in no way, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, you can. I don't.
People should get out there, and they should vote and make themselves. That's how you get heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, vote for the right people. Start looking at more than just the presidential candidates. Yeah. Start looking at who these police chiefs are. Start looking at, your city council. Like, start looking at who those people actually are and if they actually represent you. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I just think somebody will get in that office who really gets it, maybe from our generation, the person that gets it, that wants to come together with everybody and just make America run like the fine machine that it is, man. And it can work for everybody. It's enough money for everybody. It's enough prosperity for everybody. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You cannot stand in somebody's way on their pursuit to happiness, especially if they're not hurting anybody, And I just think we all benefit off of each other, of each other's cultures. You know what I'm saying? From the 5 colors that's on the planet, we all still benefit from somebody else's culture, whether it be knowledge from cooking or their experiences, whether it be their technology, whatever. Like, We just need to get past all that stuff. And, you know, I don't know what's up with the Bill Gates and all these people of the world, but yo, use your computer skills for something else. If these people are so tired of the planet, why don't they build a rocket ship, blast off? You know what I'm saying? Just circle up there with their genius. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, they don't even have to be down here with us. Like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
No, I agree. It's so weird. It's like even when I heard he had patent on vaccines, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I have no idea about any of this stuff. And the more and more,
we all should question it.
Absolutely.
And we should be scared. We should question that. I mean, the guy that's telling us to get the vaccine, is he the first guy in line? Can we see the, you know, medical report on him? Can we, you know, monitor his status? Can he use it first? Like, it's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on, but I do love the space technology. You know what I'm saying? I love the space aliens, wherever they at, because obviously they're running it. You know that.
Dude, I watched fucking 2 hours of alien docs last night. I got caught in a wormhole.
Come on.
I even switched to my laptop. I am obsessed. I can't wait for them to come here.
Dude,
and fuck
like,
us up.
if you like me, you came up in the era with fucking analog TV.
Yes,
so where
dude.
did all these fiber optics come from,
dude.
man? This is like the Jetsons.
Dave, you hit on it perfectly. Just to draw a correlation with people like 35 to 40. If you were born in like 75 to like 85, you have experience that's real life experience. If you're in a metropolitan city, I'm from Philadelphia, so I grew up in a similar environment like you guys, where everybody was cool with each other, and you really experienced each other's culture in an unfiltered way, where like you fought the streets with these people, you experienced all the negatives and all the positives, and you came together. So when I hear some fucking 22-year-old social justice warrior from Connecticut speak to me about like being insensitive or saying things the wrong way, or it's like, you don't have the experience I've had, and you're saying and doing the wrong things. You're causing havoc online where for the wrong purposes. You are the Antifa that's getting in the face of a cop, and you're not living in that city. You're just causing a problem between two cultures, and you should be the fuck in your basement eating ice cream. Like,
absolutely. Some people should know when to sit out. You know, just sit it out. They got warriors on the front line that been fighting these fights for hundreds of years. So to me, some people should just sit out. There's no need for the sideline commentary. You know what I mean? Because
help me out here. Tell me what horrorcore is. I want to get into you know, what your stage life was like growing up, because I know you said you started when you were like 13 or 14.
Yeah, you were in high school when you put out your first album, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Okay, horrorcore. Okay, horrorcore was something that was made up. Okay, I didn't make it up because my stuff was called acid rap, right?
Yes.
And when I start making records and putting records out, we were selling so much of this stuff that the major labels wanted a piece of the action. Instead of signing me and, you know, writing me a check, they decided to make their own version of what I was doing, and they called it horrorcore. You know what I'm saying? So this is where you get all that stuff from, because my rhymes, that's why we call it real life, were so close to reality, because reality in itself is so wicked and scary. They thought I was trying to be scary, when I was just kind of telling the truth and just talking about outside life in Detroit and the things that can happen to you on the street if you choose to, you know, go the street life route. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to glorify the streets. I was telling you, yo, if you sell drugs, you're probably gonna die. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, the dope man, he's not a nice guy. He's killing you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to put it in a way where it's so real to kids, and my messages sometimes, because I was so young and unfiltered, you know what I'm saying?
So is there a visual representation? I saw a bunch of clips on
there's
Twitter.
A ton, like Booming Words from Hell. Was that your first album?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was the first one I picked up. So that, and it is it's so dark, and I loved it, and I tripped a lot. So for some reason, it just went well with acid. That's all I can really say.
That's what I'm saying. So this is how we connected. So when I was making my style of rap, which I call acid rap, and I coined it the wicked shit, I was influenced by a lot of other people, like, you know, the AC/DCs, the Kiss, the, you know, Alice Coopers of the world.
That's kind of what your covers resembled, but it was a little of both, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there was, in rap, this thing was unheard of. You did not have dark imagery that was making their stuff kind of look like rock and roll with that hard edge to it, right? So this was before the internet. So if you went in any record store to the E section and saw my record, just creative marketing, visually it would pull you in there because of where you was coming from, you know, and what you was identifying with, you know, as a
right
team.
there.
So in the 90s, when we had this guy coming out the flames and talking about booming words from hell,
Yeah.
it attracted a lot of more people because it was not like the typical candy-coated rap. You know what I'm saying? And it was darker. And like I said, I was totally unfiltered. And I was a kid just saying what the hell I wanted. I was like, yo, why is Priest out here, you know, touching little boys? And what is going on? Nobody's, you know, getting arrested. You know, I was talking about police violence. I was talking about incest, whatever, you know, just all these taboo subjects that nobody wanted to talk about. I chose to talk about them in my rhymes.
So like, you know, what's been going on right now in the country? Is this obviously influencing your music and
absolutely. That's where I get the wicked shit from.
Yeah, right.
The country is so wicked and violent, and all you got to do is turn on the news. I got enough, you know, substance right there to just go off of. You know what I mean? And then Detroit was a crazy place back then.
Oh, it was. Well, and even do you remember Motor City Records?
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I used to pick up all your stuff. I was always
no
there.
doubt. I had an office right there on Harper between 8 and 9 Mile. It was right now, right off of Harper. It was like right there. That's where our first office was. Real Life Productions was. Right
so was it right by Wally's?
Yep.
Yeah,
right
I know where you were at.
Sure.
Jeez, I rode my bike past you on the way to get your record.
No doubt. But you know, awesome. Man, I mean,
pull that bike though, didn't you, Dave?
Yes.
When we were doing this stuff and we were kids, we had no idea that we were planting a seed that would grow into a genre. You know what I'm saying? Like this genre wasn't even out there. So while people was making records, I was unconsciously making a genre. I was just doing stuff that people wasn't necessarily doing at the time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, you know, once I seen how the public reacted to this formula, I just kept doing it. You know what I mean? We were making money. We were independent. We didn't have to, you know, because we did try to get a record deal, but we got the door slammed in our face. You know what I mean? Like, get the hell out of here with that shit.
Yeah, it's hard to say, hey, I got this album called Closed Casket.
Right. Nobody's like, no, you don't. You know what I'm saying? You're not Meatloaf or whatever the fuck they was thinking, you know? So we like, yo, what's up? Why we can't do this? You know, for every major record company that slammed the door in our face, when we took that stuff to the record stores, they was loving it. They couldn't get enough of it. You know what I'm saying? We put a record out called Kill the Fetus. They didn't have it right in the counter. You had to get that record in a brown bag and from under the counter. No, it was like liquor. Like, Kill the Fetus, the cover was so ill. It was like they was selling dope. That's why we was like Eshams Dope Ho. Go ahead.
I still have it at my house because it's my favorite album cover ever because it is the most offensive. I fucking love it.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because it's KKK Kill the Fetus. Yeah.
Oh my God. They was like, bastard. It was like, oh my God. And at that point, people were totally convinced that I just, you know, I'm riding front seat with Satan. He's the worst person ever. You know,
they
felt
thought
like
you were,
man.
Yeah, they thought you were a Satanist. And then also when Nodus came out, because when you went by Nodus, which is Satan backwards.
Yes, it is. You know, and if you're dyslexic, that's how you read stuff. But absolutely, you know, absolutely. So, I mean, I was definitely playing on, you know, the minds of people when I made this stuff up because there was no internet. You know what I'm saying? There was none of that. You just had word of mouth. And because the power of word of mouth was so strong, we created a huge buzz within the North Central region, you know what I'm saying, of the United States, right? I never even left out of Detroit for like 15 years because I didn't really have to. And everybody kind of came to us to get that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But then when the internet came out, I watched the bottom of the record business fall out. I watched a lot of my friends and colleagues go out of business. A lot of mom and pop stores that, you know, we all
Motor
had
City, yeah.
sold this music together. We were all making money, and it tore my heart out because these were people of all different races, and everybody just came together to sell this music. Not just my music, but everybody's music in the record store. But I come to have a relationship with all these people, man. And it tore my heart out to just watch the record business change like that. You know what I mean?
Crazy. I didn't even think about that.
And a lot of people, you know, those stores didn't come back, you know, but, you know, I learned so much about America, the American spirit, you know, just different people doing that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
and I got it. Go ahead.
I've only had experience with like video stores where it's just all child molesters and murderers. Like
Absolutely.
when you see like
The record store was just a step up from that.
yeah. When you see like a true record store, like in a movie in the 90s, like you do get like a feeling of nostalgia because it is all cultures. It is everyone's communicating in a certain way. They're selling their music, but they're selling their story. It's like really, there's such a warmth in just seeing it visually on a screen.
It was like a safe place. The record store was a safe place.
Yeah.
It was like almost sacred. You go in the record store, it's like a library. You know, you be quiet, you respect it. You know what I mean? Like, and they took that organic experience away from people with actually purchasing a product, getting it in their hands, taking it home, and you know, they took that away with the internet. You know,
the clarity.
But it was an adjustment that people had to make. A lot of people didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? But if you made the adjustment, just like the stuff that we're going through now, it was hard for a lot of people at first. But now with the internet, I'm pretty sure everybody loves the fact that, you know, no song is, you know, hard to get now, or, you know what I'm saying? Those songs that you're like, remember that song, you know, and it's right there at your fingertips. So, you know, that's the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? And a person like me who lost, you know, 60% of my business when the internet came in, I was devastated, but I learned to get over that, and I learned to appreciate the new way too. Just like I'm saying with anybody that's devastated about, you know, defunding the police or, you know, Trump going out of office or anything, you will get over that because this country has gotten over a lot. You know what I'm saying? Though, because it's a strong country, man.
No, it's like, and you're looking at a different route and just doing different things, which I admire. It's like I made a movie. My last album I released only digital, and that felt weird. You know, it was a stand-up album just to put out digital only, because there really was something about walking into the store. There was always two guys that worked at the store. There was the black guy who knew the Motown section and looked at you like you were shit, and the white guy with the fucking ponytail who knew everything about rock that looked at you like you were shit. Those were the two employees.
It was that same respect, like, yo, you know, what do you want, kid? You know what I'm saying?
They just didn't want you to steal, and you know, there's several times you tried when you're
but even then, you respected it.
You did.
I'm pretty sure some kids went in there and got a few things, but those record stores, you know, they respected it, man. And I miss those record store owners, and, you know, God bless them, man. I hope everybody out there is doing well in this new future.
That's why I love walking up with Judgment Day, which it's like you on a cross, and I know I'm 14, and I'm like,
I'm not supposed to have this, am I? This is crap. You know?
And if they sold it to me, I'm like, I'm coming back,
absolutely.
And my dad was very liberal in that sense. So if I didn't get it, because I remember when I was in '92, I got Eazy-E's "Merry Motherfucking Christmas," or no, it was '90. It was like '88, whatever year it came out. But I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I remember having my Walkman on, just listening to Eazy-E's "Merry Motherfucking Christmas," because it was so funny to me as a little kid.
It is. I mean, and to me, excuse me, I feel like these records were our own reporters. These were our reporters. These were our, you know, street teachers. You know, you're not supposed to take in everything, but there's a little grain of truth in all these records. And hopefully when these people were putting these records out, you got something from it. And I think what you got from it is a better understanding of somebody else's culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it made you look at them a little differently and more accepting. And I think that's what the 90s did, man. And, you know, that's what the music did. It definitely did that for me.
The Clerks would let you do anything at like 14 to 16 in the night. I mean, the video stores, I used to get this VHS tape called Faces of Death.
Yes.
Oh, man.
You remember that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scarred me for life. That monkey.
My video store was right next to a
It's very
Wawa.
motivation.
But dude, we was looking at all that shit. That's how I wrote Kill the Fetus. Watching Faces of Death.
Faces of
And
Death.
just the horror.
Yeah. And they would let me rent it. I was like 13, and then I would go next door to Wawa, and I would slip the guy a note which just said, "Give my son a pack of soft pack Winston's," and then he would sign it, and he would just give me cigarettes. So I'd go home with a VHS tape with murder, and then cigarettes from my dad. 13.
But you know what though, man? I think even having access to that stuff, it shaped you. It made me seeing that. Made me not want to ever do that to somebody or be in those situations. It was just horrible. You know what I'm saying? So, and like I say, I know I talk about a lot of crazy stuff on records and stuff like that, you know, but I just look at what I do, like entertainment, like Stephen King, like, you know, any horror writer or anything like that. So once I started perfecting my craft, yeah, I went down the rabbit hole real deep. You know what I'm saying? Like I just, you know, I'm going there with it. This is America. You know what I'm saying? So I did that. But as a human being, as a person, I come out to say, hey, I'm a human being. I'm an entertainer. And this is my country too. I love it. I love my brothers and sisters here. You know what I'm saying? And I want us to get to a place where we can get back to appreciating each other's cultures and just learning from each other again, man. And just, you know, learning how to heal, you know, and learning how to help each other, you know, and it's a lot of people that's out there doing that now, you know what I mean, and still doing that, and they won't let their memories die, or they won't let somebody warp their memories of, no, you know, I've hung around these kind of people. Like, it's really nothing somebody can tell me about another race, me personally, that I'm not I have my own experiences with people, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't judge no race off of one person.
Also, I imagine your audience has
sure.
a spectrum from like a fat white goth girl to like a
Indian. Yeah, man, that's everybody in there. You know what I'm saying? All walks of life are inside my concert, and that's just what I'm saying. So, you know, I would want people to do that. You know, just judge people off the content of their character, man. You know, and every person in every race is not the same. There's assholes in every race, man. You know, so you just gotta, you know, just be smart out here and yeah, man, that's really it, man. I'm get to a cool place.
I'm like you. I do stand-up comedy, and it's the way that I just deal with stuff when it comes to darkness, and it's just a sort of I have jokes about pedophilia. I have jokes about missing kids. I have jokes about like
absolutely.
the kid.
And it's funny, but it's not funny. You know
exactly. It's so not funny. It's funny.
On.
Yeah, it's so not funny that it's funny to me. That's why. Right. Like even just pausing to look at the room and go, just do a terrible joke about fucking, you know, a guy trying to pick me up, which actually happened in Detroit, and then just ending it with like, do you think the kid actually gets the candy? Like, you think you should get the candy before he gets beheaded? And just to see a room of uncomfortable people, just
what do you think about funny. All the adrenochrome and these people going to Sex Island with Jeffrey Epstein and you know,
it's so fucked up. It's so weird because the Epstein thing kind of just solidified what I assumed rich people did ever since I saw Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh my God, right?
You know, and then just knowing about the past of Hollywood where you have like the girl from Poltergeist who died from impacted bowels and all that bullshit. Like they've been covering up all this nasty shit for years, and I think if there weren't people that were joking about it or rapping about it, there's no way to really make that
and it wouldn't even come to light. Nobody would hear it. But that's the beauty of dark comedy and dark music. If nobody would actually talk about these subjects, they wouldn't come to light. You know what I mean? So sometimes we joke about them in order for people to actually say, hey, is this stuff going on really? Like, you know what I mean?
100%. And that's why you can listen to jokes about it or music about it, but the second you watch the actual Epstein documentary on Netflix, you're like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's not, you can't take it. So
where are the super cops when you need them? Go in there to fucking pedophile island, storm that bitch, go live, start shooting down the pedophiles. We don't care if they're bad people, you know what I'm saying? But when good people get killed, man, it's a travesty of justice, man.
It is.
We want to see you do some police work. You know what I mean? Some real shit. Where we like, oh yeah, y'all went to fucking Catholic church and y'all murdered all the motherfuckers over there. Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, I don't care if we have a priest-police task force that kills people in the middle of mass.
Where's the Catholic? Yeah, where's the pedophile police force? Like, where is that at? Like,
the scariest part about that, the whole documentary is it all starts with a couple billionaires
Yeah,
that
man.
can buy anything, and then there's a plethora of children that want $100 because they want to buy a fucking pair of Jordans. If this was the '90s and some dude walked up to me, he's like, "Hey, all you gotta do is beat me off.
Yeah.
I'll take you down to the mall. I'll get you some fresh pumps." And I'm like, "You're gonna give me fucking Reebok pumps just for beating you off?" He's like, "Yeah, but then go get one of your friends. I'll get him a pair of pumps. There'll be 7 of us just beating off old men."
Yeah.
I don't need a fucking island. You think get me,
I saw the documentary too. But you know what though? I'm a little skeptical about all that shit, man. Some of them girls look like
crazy.
They've gone wrong. Like they just, they could have been doing that shit for 5 years and they'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I was fucking 213.
Yeah.
I went over there with Sally.
Yeah, they don't talk
I went back though. I mean, I went one time, but yeah, I went back.
There's always the fake
ones that
victim
got
now.
out they don't talk about the ones that got it out the right time. Maybe there was like one that was abused for like 5 years and like, yeah, well, that got me through high school.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
but
take it back.
At some point too, though, you know what I'm saying? At some point too, like actual children need to step up and take responsibility too. Because there's some vicious kids out here that live like adults. Yeah. No, they do. They live like adults. I'm not tripping. Like you will see some of these kids, they smoking cigarettes, 5 packs of cigarettes, and they adults. You know what I'm saying? And like they only kids when they get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Where some of these kids are goddamn like Babyface Nelson. You know what I'm saying?
Right? No, it's yeah. People forget that fucking what was the Wild West kid's name? Fucking kid. Why am I blanking on that? Emilio Estevez played him in Young Guns. Billy the Kid, yeah.
Okay,
it's like you forget that fucking guy was 13, gunning people down right and left.
Absolutely.
And even when we were kids, you looked at that with gangs, and then even like you said, going to the stores. Like I would go up to the store and be like, "Hi, I got a note from my dad. He needs Black and Milds for a dinner party." Like you were full of shit until they caught you smoking them.
Children need to take a little responsibility for some of that stuff too, and actually admit that there are kids out here that they're not playing on the playground. There are kids out here who are professionals at criminal activity too.
Dude, I'm not like, I don't want to get into this like when we were kids kind of thing, but we self-policed ourselves. And I feel like growing up, when you cut through a fucking neighborhood or a basketball court or a yard, like you had to check yourself. I feel like these kids these days, I did. I said it. I put 3-year-old kids these days.
Yeah.
I was afraid to walk in certain areas because you would get checked. You would get, assaulted or at least bullied. I'm not talking about
it's bullying.
But they bullied you.
Yeah.
There isn't a day that goes by that I don't walk to my fucking beer distributor and envision just hauling off on 3 or 4 of these kids that have zero respect, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, zero respect because no one is checking them.
But that's my point. So if everybody is out there like the kids, but really, some of the kids are the problem. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, trying to be a skeptic about it, but I just think everybody should look at, the problems and come up with some real solutions. And I don't know how we got on pedophilia because we might even talk about Jeffrey Epstein and all that crazy shit. But there's a lot of people that went to that island too that didn't want their name to be known out there. A lot of people's favorite stars might have been on that same island partying. You know what I'm saying? But I don't even know what's up with all that, man. Maybe they just need to, wipe the whole board clean and come back up with another plan because what are the rules? Is there any rules?
Yeah, because apparently when you have enough money, there's not. And I guess once you have enough jets or Lamborghinis, you're like, I think I'll try kid fucking. It's like, why does a certain amount of money turn into that? It makes no sense.
Can you tell me what amount of money that is? Because I want to make sure I never reach that.
I know. I never want to hit that goal.
Right. You get $1 billion, you're like, you know what? I want to start fucking kids now. Like, hell no.
Yeah,
I don't even want $1 billion if that's the stipulation.
Yeah, you're like, how many times can I zip line? Just let me do it.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
it's a pedophile holding that one last hour. Like, if I give this to you, you know what that means, right?
No, seriously though. I mean, they could make a TV show, How to Kill a Pedophile, and people would watch that over cops. You know what I'm saying? Because I just think if you out here fucking some kids, something is seriously wrong with you, man.
I used to say that on stage when Catch a Pedophile was on, that exact thing. I said they should call it Kill a Pedophile where he walks in and they just shoot him in the head and that's it.
Well, you gotta at least, don't just shoot him for nothing. Let him pull the pennies down or something. Okay, shoot him. You know what I'm saying?
He's got to get little, then you kill him.
Yeah, then you slowly eat those cookies next to Chris Hansen.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, while you sit there and explain while you're there while eating sweets and lemonade.
Oh man, some shit happened to Chris Hansen.
No, that shit bothered me
Michigan
more than
guy,
anything.
Just throwing it out there.
What happened to Chris Hansen? Some shit happened to him, didn't it?
Yeah, he used to do actually.
Predator.
He used to do our other show though. No, he got in trouble for check fraud, check cashing fraud.
See, that's what I'm saying. Everybody human. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, watching that show, man, I was obsessed with To Catch a Predator, and the guys knew they were guilty. Like, I can't.
First of all, how's you showing up? How's you showing up to that? How's you going over there like?
How are you showing up? But she's like, I'll be right back. I have to clean up my toys. And then the guy just reaches over and starts eating a cookie like that. Dude, that is insane to me.
Well, he's got condoms and fruit juice in a bag.
Even with all that stuff happening, you never even seen them people get killed or nothing like that. And that's my point. Like, some of these people do really horrible stuff. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, you might look the other way if something happened to them. But when somebody is, you know, gunned down or something and they don't do nothing, you know what I'm saying? Or they got their hands behind their back, cuffed, you know, that's a serious situation. But, you know, all the bad peoples, pedophiles, you know what I'm saying? Racists, whoever, why don't they get in a hot air balloon? Get up out of here. Spaceship. Why they ain't building this stuff? Like, if I didn't want to be around nobody else and I was the smartest person in the world, Bill Gates style, or, you know, Mark Zuckerberg, build the super friend spaceship, or the super villains, because they like the super villains in real life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Build that shit and get out of here. Like,
I'd say build it and then tell them it's gonna go up in space, but then just blow the fucker up.
Well, fucking no, don't blow it up, because we want to know what's out there. Be explorers.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You know, go out there and explore the universe. Come back with some new life forms or something. That whole Star Trek shit. You know what I'm saying?
Some younger life forms we can fuck.
Younger life forms. Now the real question is, if the aliens come down here and start fucking everybody.
Yeah, dude.
That's the thing. I think the only thing that's gonna make human beings save each other is seriously if fucking alien race comes down, and then we're gonna be like, ah, shit, it's alien humans invasion versus them.
And they don't want to do nothing but rape people.
Yeah.
Man, no, tell me about. I've always wondered, you know, the wildest concert, or can you tell us any wild ass stories?
Well, I mean, my concerts
30 years, bro.
All jokes aside, we just was joking, but my concerts are pretty wild, man. I mean, it's everything, you know, rock and roll style. Like, I mean, it's wild, rock and roll. I mean, anything you can imagine under the rock and roll title that rock and roll is, it's happened at my concert. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I respect my fans. I love them. And, you know, there's never been no problems. It's just been always a good time at my concerts. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people don't get. Like, people come in there, you might see a crazy mosh pit or something, right? And then those same guys is outside smoking a doobie or something, or like, it's all love in there in my concerts. I mean, it's rock and roll, man. There's pretty girls, there's tits out, you know what I'm saying? Balls to the wall. It's all that shit. You know what I mean?
And I was curious.
I appreciate it. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, no shit. How much now did drugs influence you? Because I noticed, like, when listening to you, I was really into LSD for a long time. Then ecstasy came out, and that's when you put out that one song. I can't think of the name of it, but it's just when you have, like, basically, it's the word fellatio to a dance beat, and it's just fucking hilarious.
That's the name of the track.
Yeah. Oh, is it fellatio? Okay.
Fellatio. Fellatio's the name of the track.
Yeah. It was so funny though, and but to a good beat. Absolutely. But was that influenced by the ecstasy movement a little bit? Were you?
Well, yeah, it was influenced by all the rave stuff. I come from Detroit, so I like techno, EDM music, like fellatio. You know what I'm saying? But not forcefully, not sodomizing anybody, or anything. But fellatio is nice. I like that word. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yeah, fellatio. That's a better way to say that. You know what I'm saying? So I made a song about it. I didn't start smoking weed till I was 27, man. I didn't even do no drugs until I was like 27. Yep.
Oh wow!
And then,
why?
You know, I mean, weed is my drug of choice. You know, but like I say, rock and roll, man. I've experimented. You know, I went down the rabbit hole a few times, but luckily I came back. You know what I'm saying? But I don't recommend that to nobody. But I'm just saying, I'm being honest. You know, just being in rock and roll. You know, mushrooms, acid, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, weed is my drug of choice. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh, sure.
rock and roll, man.
When you were doing what was it, the DMT files? Were you on DMT though, like when writing them and
I
putting it
tried
together?
some DMT because I didn't, want to be just talking on my ass. So
Right.
me and my homeboy TJ smoked some DMT, and it wasn't like they say. I didn't see no space aliens and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
It never is what it's supposed to be.
Right. I was looking for them because I was looking for the secret formula. They say that's in there too. So anywhere you can get to the secret formula, I'm trying to experiment and see, right? So we smoked some, and it was nice. It was a nice little buzz and stuff, pretty euphoric, but it wasn't, it was more like just like acid or anything like that. You know what I mean? To me, slow motion acid, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, actually.
So, but doing the DMT, the DMT sessions, I like to make my songs, about different drugs or whatever. So I might just be researching a drug, or I might name something, a different drug, so that, it was almost like, people come to appreciate just, doing research with me too. So I will name something dimethyltryptamine, and people are like, well, what the fuck is dimethyltryptamine? You know what I'm saying? Well, that's DMT if you really want to get off into it. So I would go and name my songs different drugs, whatever it might be. I have to see it in front of me, but just so people can do some research and start trying to research some of these chemicals that they putting in their body. Instead of saying don't do drugs, I'm going to give you an album full of drugs. And then you're going to say, what is this? And then it's just like a little homework experiment that everybody does with me to research songs, titles, but they're actual drugs. And then they just learn a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Well, especially with acid rap. For some reason, I guess you weren't taking acid then when you were first calling it that?
Well, no, I was not taking acid then, but, my brother was, deep in the streets. I'm not going to say he was taking acid, but he might have experimented or whatever.
He owned your record company with you, right? He was with you in the record company?
My older brother. He was 2 years older than me, and he ran the company with me.
Okay.
The music was just such a trip. It took you on a trip, like acid. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that I'm out here taking acid every day, but the music was dope. And that was our dope of choice to say, this music is like acid. This is acid rap. This music is the alternative to drug use. You know what I'm saying? You listen to my music and you'll feel tripped out after that shit go off, and you won't have to do drugs. It's the alternative to drug use, acid rap.
Okay.
What's I was watching Intervention, and these dudes were doing wet. Is that what you dip a cigarette in like formaldehyde or some shit?
That should fuck you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I did some wet too.
Fuck yeah.
That's what we was talking about on them records, smoking wet in the Valley Projects, in Cleveland. But, I don't recommend this shit to nobody because that wet that's Sherm, that's PCP. You know what I'm saying? And wet, a dipped cigarette is called a Sherm stick. So they take a regular cigarette and they dip it in formaldehyde. Right? Just not the whole thing. It ain't wet up. They just dip the tip of it.
Yeah.
You hit that motherfucker, your ass gone to Pluto. And it's so addictive, it'll have you out here on some zombie shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I say, I can only tell you because I only did it once. And that shit, I never fuck with that again. It wasn't a bad trip, but it was just some shit I don't want to be like this. You know what I'm saying? Pardon me?
Is it hallucinogenic? Or do you just
you can hallucinate off that shit and trip out? It's like an out-of-body experience. It was like I saw myself in the corner on the floor. You know what I'm saying? But I'm in the corner on the floor, but I'm standing, you feel what I'm saying? Like, hell no. I don't like this,
Yeah, like your brain registers behind you so you watch what just happened. And
my homeboys, I had a couple homeboys who was moving gallons of wet. You know what I'm saying? They were partying and shit. And, just partying one night. And, just like, fuck it, I'm going to try some of that shit in a safe environment or whatever. And I didn't like it, man. You know what I'm saying? But I have tried some wet. Mm-hmm.
Were you, what raves did you go to a bit where you would perform? Did you perform at any raves? Because I used to go to the Firehouse. I don't know if you remember
King
that.
David, you hit the King David? He used to throw a lot of raves in Detroit.
Yeah.
I did King David rave one time. His shit was wild.
Oh,
His shit was like some eyes wide shut shit.
Yeah.
Like you go in there. It was beautiful, man, though. Like don't get me wrong, like adult parties are beautiful. There's nothing wrong with going to an adult party. You might see a beautiful lady in a cage or, they're dancing erotic. This is adult partying. You know what I'm saying? And all of that, even the human body is nothing to be ashamed of. I don't know why people put such a big emphasis on sex and, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that.
It just makes people want it more. Anytime you say you can't have something, it goes
Absolutely.
with anything in life. Liquor, drugs, whatever. You take it away, people want it back.
Kids.
Well, there it is. So King David's raves was like a, you know, just a, it wasn't a sex party, but it was very erotic and sexual, you know, and there was a nice atmosphere up in there. But yeah, I did a lot of raves in Detroit. I mean, yeah, I love that stuff.
I remember seeing you on the flyers and everything, but then there was always the promise of DJ Jazzy Jeff, who never showed up to any rave ever.
Classic.
Well, shit, I don't know. You know, I don't know, man. I did a concert with Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff. My very first concert I ever did. It was at this club called Taboos in downtown Detroit. It used to be back by the riverfront, by the warehouse, you know.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the guy who owns Harpo's, Roosevelt, he brought DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince in the town. And, you know, we were just little kids and we knew Roosevelt. And, you know, he had another club on 7 Mile called Tides, and we performed there before with Kid Rock one time. And Kid Rock opened up for us, you know what I'm saying? Because it was our show. We paid for everything. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, this is before he blew up. So DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince did a show at this club called Taboos, and I got to open up for him. And I opened up for him, and we had all this wild shit up there, man. Like, we had Grim Reapers and all these stage props and, you know, people squirting shit on the audience. It was just real wild. They never seen nothing like that before, because we was looking at them old Funkadelic shows thinking that's what you had to do. Like, you know, have all this wild stage shit going on. So we went in there like that and kind of like tore Taboos up. And then when the Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince got on stage, I was kind of standing to the side of the stage looking at them perform. And there was some old guy standing next to me. He was like, "You want to be just like them, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And he was like, "Get up there. This is your chance. Get up there right now." And I don't know why I listened to him. Like, for whatever reason, I'm just like, yeah, get up there. Like, this is my chance. So I attempted to go on the stage, you know what I'm saying? With Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. It was a small little stage because it was a small.
Wouldn't that be great that the whole time it wasn't an old man, it was just you were smoking wet and it was just
no,
get up there, man.
It was an old man there. I wasn't even high. I was young. I wasn't getting high there. It was an old man there. But I tried to walk on stage, and Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince had this bodyguard named Charlie Mack. They made a song about him, Charlie Mack. Anyway, I got 2 steps into the stage, and Charlie Mack picked me up like a little baby, carried me off to the side and said, "Hey, little brother, you don't want to do that." Set me down to the side like a little precious baby. And I was just like, damn, you know. And that was my experience with Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, but that was my first show I ever did. And just learning stuff. Like, you don't do that. You don't try to step on somebody else's stage when they're performing. And he could have been a real dick about it. He could have actually threw me into the wall, but he gingerly put me down like a little baby. And I was like, damn, you know, and I learned something that day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just to respect other people's space and shit.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you came up a bit with Eminem. I mean, you guys have pictures together a lot. Were you...
Eminem? No, not Eminem. I never even met Eminem until... no, I never knew Eminem. Eminem came up with this guy named Champtown.
Maybe that's who I'm thinking of. Oh, I know you got pictures with Kid Rock.
Together. I never met Eminem. And funny thing about Marshall is Champtown said Marshall used to spell his name like the candy.
Yeah, it was M&M, yeah.
Yeah, because his name is Marshall Mathers. But as a clever, you know, marketing ploy, I felt like the Interscope team and Jimmy Iovine and whoever decided to spell this guy's name with an E and end it with an M, because we was like capitalizing in those record stores. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you would have to ask him why he spells his name like that. But he also says, I'm a cross between Manson, Esham, and Ozzy on his first record, where he was actually trying to give me props. I never met that guy before in my life, you know. I didn't know him from a can of beans, right? So when he got his record deal, I knew the people that he was in the group with. You know, they went to my high school and stuff like that. You got to remember, I was putting out records when I was a young kid. I was the only kid in high school that had a record out. Actually, I had 4 records out in the 9th grade.
Well, because Slim Shady's very influenced by you. That's probably why.
Yeah, that's what they say. But
yeah.
I didn't understand that when he, you know, got on and got his major record deal, that why he would get out there in the public eye and try to shit on the underground independent artists, which that's what, to me, him and, his cohorts did. Instead of embracing the music community in Detroit, they chose to shit on it and just be like, fuck us. And he proceeded, after he gave me some props, then they started making little disses and jabs and throwing little diss records at me or whatever. And I didn't pay attention for a while, and then I just went all out Esham on his ass, and then the rest is history.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because there's you were doing stuff with psychedelic as well, weren't you?
You mean Psychopathic Records?
Or psychopathic? I mean, sorry. Yeah.
Insane Clown Posse. But like I say, I never knew Eminem, from anybody. I just didn't understand why, when he got a major record deal, like I say, he chose to speak down on, the artist that came from where he actually said, he was coming from. You know what I'm saying? And which is it's not weird to me, but it's weird. It is weird because maybe he never got over his own racial prejudices with the city of Detroit. Maybe something happened to him in his past that made him feel a certain type of way about people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, listen, I respect his music. I respect him as an artist, but he's such a fucking dork. He's so funny. Yeah, you know what he's like? It's like watching Puff Daddy try and be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, stay in your fucking lane. I know you went through some shit, but you're not a tough guy, and stop acting like you're 14 years old still. Like he's got.
Absolutely, and I just it's like at the end of the day, because I was even saying that like after George Floyd, got shot, I was real emotional, and I appreciate you guys talking to me today because this kind of got me out my little funk because I haven't been talking about that stuff,
dude. Likewise.
But when all this stuff happened, just as an artist, I went and I posted something, and I'm like, yo. This is just, a call to all my hip hop brothers, and I'm like Eminem, why don't you speak out against this injustice against Black people? You got a huge platform. The world deserves to hear from somebody like you. And he's completely silent about this issue. And I just feel like that if you benefit from a culture that's, made by Black folks, you should stick up for the culture when they need you, or you should say something. Don't just say it when it's convenient for you. Say it, when it's inconvenient. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't say anything. I didn't expect him to say anything, but I just feel like the world just knows what side you stand on. Your silence is just as equal as somebody's violence. You know what I'm saying? So, and don't go around calling yourself the GOAT or, it's some bullshit that you do if you can't stand up in time of need. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, I don't know him. I met him twice in my life. You know what I'm saying? I would share the story, but the first time I met him, it was some crazy shit happened. I don't know if he had ever even tell nobody that story. And the second time I met him, it was like, it was still crazy because I met him through proof. You know what I'm saying? And if he ever want to come out and talk about the first two times I met him, I would probably collaborate on the story. But he probably was, scared.
Because you knew Proof, didn't you?
Yeah, I knew Proof.
That's
Proof
what I thought, yeah.
Shit, I'm probably the reason Proof was rapping.
Is Proof the guy that died in D12?
Yeah, he did. He got shot.
And it's supposed to be Eminem's best friend.
Yeah.
And Proof died dead broke. He was a part of a group that sold 10 million records.
D12.
And he died without a penny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, D12 I find so strange because they didn't get a lot of notoriety or a lot of money off of their work.
I mean, but that's just, that's the travesty of justice. And to me, if I can't tell you what to do in the record business, but what I could tell you what not to do, because I made a lot of mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And that's on those guys' business. But when it comes to the city of Detroit, I just know that you need to stand in a place of righteousness to get respect from the city of Detroit. And if you are not standing in a place of righteousness, then you cannot walk the streets of Detroit. I can go anywhere in Detroit. I don't walk with the police. You feel what I'm saying now?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But if you know in your heart of hearts that you've done something unrighteous, then you probably wouldn't walk the streets of Detroit. Or even come around there, man. Because like I say, I don't know what a sellout is, but I know what one looked like.
Woo! Yeah, no, it's true. And that it bums me out because I always have liked his music. I can't lie. I've always been a fan. And I guess I never understood. Yeah, I forgot what had happened last time, whatever travesty it was, but what had pissed me off was he did this thing where he like freestyled against
that was
Trump.
about Trump when he went in on Trump.
Yeah, and then he was like
Oh, the
surrounded
parking
by
garage
black
kinda thing?
people though, like he was the leader, and then he was like freestyling about Trump, and it's like, dude, what the fuck is this? It doesn't even look
Listen,
like.
can I tell everybody, Eminem is not the only white person in Detroit.
No.
He acts like he is the only white man in the city of Detroit. You know what I'm saying? And it's asinine, man, for you to even think that. And just he got to look inside himself to just and ask yourself, why are you feeling like you're the only white person in Detroit? Actually, you're a separatist. You've been separating people. When your music came in, it was separating people. It wasn't bringing nobody together. Eminem was actually talking about black people. He is the reason for a lot of this stuff, but he won't own up to it.
That's kind of how I
true.
feel about him as a personality. He stunted his growth because what got him successful in the beginning was that separation mentality.
Absolutely.
In
He's
being
just like Trump, if you ask me.
Yeah. So I think that, guys like that, they double down on what got them there, and they do it for so many decades that they warp their sense of reality and they become that person forever.
Absolutely.
He is that punk that's going through the mall forever in my eyes. And
absolutely. And I mean, it's just a shame that, you get in that position to be a decent human being and you don't. You know what I'm saying? I was always taught, if you can help somebody, you should. And I don't help anybody looking for an ROI. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for a return on any investment. I'm just looking to be a better person. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of people, they like, man, Esham, you started this genre. How do you feel about other people? They're successful. They blew up. They made millions of dollars. Those same people used to come to me when I was a kid and ask me to sign them on a record label. And I would be like, no, I can't sign you on a record label because I don't sign people. I'm not going to sell you a dream. But I will show you how to do this. I will show you how to fish. I'm not going to cook you no fish dinner. But I'll show you how to fish and get your own. And that's what I do for people. And to me, that's what hip hop did, man. Hip hop actually won the revolution, y'all. And the revolution was in the minds of people. And that's why everything is hip hop. That's why everything got a beat to it now. Rock and roll, country got bass in it now. Bass kicks and shit, right? But this is all the influence of hip hop, and it's because hip hop infiltrated the minds of everybody, man. And we love it. So if we love it, we love the beat, we love the bass, we gotta love the creators of that stuff, man. And we gotta stand up with that, man.
I'm gonna when we're done here, I'm gonna research some flights to Minneapolis. I'm gonna grab you by the hand. We're gonna walk the streets and we're gonna hunt pedophiles together.